The colony on Zerathia Prime was supposed to be a quiet outpost. Mining operations, low population research facilities, and the occasional supply ship passing through. Humans were visitors here, cautiously tolerated by the alien inhabitants, the Xylarians, a proud and ancient species whose authority spanned several star systems. I was there on a routine security inspection. My name is Ethan Ryker, and I was human, unremarkable, with only my training and instincts to rely on. I had no idea that one night, everything I thought I knew about courage, loyalty, and morality would be shattered by a single event. I was walking along the upper platforms near the Zerathian Hall of Justice when I heard screams, not the panicked screams of humans, but something shrill and melodic, yet filled with anguish. My curiosity drew me closer. Through a small grated window I saw her. An alien girl. She couldn't have been older than 16 cycles, her frame slight, almost delicate. Her skin shimmered with a silver-blue hue under the hall's stark lighting, her hair flowing like liquid amethyst. She was restrained by energy binds, her arms raised as Xylarian enforcers read out accusations. I didn't understand her language, but the tone of the voices made the meaning painfully clear. She was being punished. Her eyes were wide, glistening with tears. She flinched at every strike, every verbal insult, and yet she didn't beg or cry out in desperation. She maintained her dignity in the face of cruelty, her pride as alien as her appearance. I couldn't look away. My stomach churned. My heart pounded with the knowledge that, for reasons I didn't yet understand, this girl's life was hanging in the balance, and there was nothing I could do. But the human instinct to act, to protect, was stronger than reason. The decision to intervene. I knew the risks. Xylarian law was strict. Humans were permitted on Zerathia Prime as observers, workers, and contractors. But interfering in Xylarian judicial matters was punishable by exile or death. And yet I couldn't stand there and watch her suffer. I waited until the enforcers left momentarily, giving me a split second to act. My hands shook as I activated a small EMP device I carried for emergencies, designed to disable energy restraints temporarily. Sparks flew, the energy binds flickered, and she collapsed into my arms as I caught her. Her eyes met mine, startled, suspicious, and something else. Relief, gratitude, and something deeper that I couldn't yet name. "Come on," I whispered, more to myself than her, pulling her through the darkened corridors. The chase began almost immediately. Alarms blared. Xylarian enforcers scanned the halls with glowing blades and energy scanners. I had never run so fast in my life. I dodged patrols, ducked through maintenance tunnels, and whispered instructions in broken words and gestures, teaching her to move quietly, swiftly. We reached the cargo bay where I had stashed a small hovercraft for emergencies. She hesitated at the threshold, looking back at the hall where her punishment had occurred. Her eyes, wide and unblinking, locked on mine. "Trust me," I said. Finally she nodded. Together we launched into the night sky of Zerathia Prime, the city below a blur of lights and patrols. My pulse was unsteady, but there was no time to reflect. She was free for now. Middle, on the run. We traveled to the outskirts of the colony, where I knew a network of abandoned facilities could provide temporary shelter. She didn't speak at first, only watching me with cautious curiosity. Her presence was electrifying, alien energy radiating from her in subtle pulses. Finally she spoke, her voice melodic, almost musical, though in broken basic, the universal language of traders and interspecies interaction. "You helped me?" "Yes," I said simply. "No one should suffer like that." She considered me carefully, tilting her head. "Not like pet." I shook my head. "No. I don't see you as a pet. You're humanely important." Her eyes widened. The phrase didn't translate directly, but she understood the meaning. For the first time, a small smile broke through her fear. For the next few days we hid. I learned that her name was Lyra, and she was of noble birth, the daughter of a Xylarian leader who had enemies in the court. Her punishment had been politically motivated, an attempt to discredit her and her family. I also learned that her powers, subtle but formidable, were just beginning to manifest. She could influence energy fields in small but precise ways, something she had been trained to conceal. Our bond grew with every passing hour. I taught her how to move in human environments without drawing attention. She taught me how to read subtle signs of alien perception, how she could detect emotion and intent almost instinctively. But danger was constant. Enforcers and bounty hunters began scouring the planet for her. Each day we risked discovery, and each night, I marveled at the courage of someone so young, so powerful, yet so vulnerable. Conflict, discovery and escape. One night, we were ambushed while resting in an abandoned research outpost. A patrol of 6 Xylarian enforcers had tracked our energy signatures. I grabbed Lyra, and we fled through ventilation shafts and maintenance tunnels, the echoes of pursuit close behind. She used her emerging abilities to manipulate the energy fields of the facility, temporarily disabling security grids and locking doors behind us. It was remarkable and terrifying. She could have ended them all instantly, but she refrained. Why not attack? I asked as we ducked behind a structural column. Not kill, she said softly. Balance, wrong. I realized then that her morality, though alien, was shaped by principles more rigorous than any human code. She was strong yet tempered by restraint. By sheer luck, we reached a launch pad for one of the colony's small transport shuttles. I piloted, Lyra guiding me with subtle gestures to avoid patrols. As we soared above the planet's surface, I felt a strange mixture of exhilaration and fear. We were fugitives running from a civilization's wrath, but together. The journey beyond Zerathia Prime. We traveled to the Renora Expanse, a sector largely unmonitored by Xylarian authorities. Here, among asteroid belts and derelict stations, we had temporary freedom. Lyra taught me about her people, their culture, their responsibilities, and their fears. I realized that her punishment was more than personal, it was symbolic. By saving her, I had challenged an entire political system. She was beginning to trust me completely, her silences replaced with conversation, her guarded gestures replaced with shared moments. One evening, as we watched the twin suns set behind a barren asteroid, she rested her hand on mine. You protect, she said. I will, I replied. It was simple, yet it meant everything. The return, facing the consequences. We knew we could not hide forever. Xylarian authorities would eventually locate us, and Lyra's position demanded action. She insisted we return, not as fugitives but as negotiators. I cannot hide, she said. My people expect courage. I understood then that saving her was only the beginning. I had to risk everything once more, not to run but to confront the system that punished her unjustly. We returned to Zerathia Prime under a careful plan. Lyra, now composed and resolute, prepared to face the tribunal that had condemned her. I stayed by her side, her human ally in a world that was alien and dangerous. Climactic confrontation. The tribunal hall was massive, circular, and imposing. Xylarian elders, enforcers, and nobles filled the chamber. Lyra stepped forward, her poise flawless, her gaze unwavering. I stood beside her, a human among aliens, a witness to injustice. Lyra, the head elder began, you have defied the law. Yet a human has interfered. Explain. Lyra's voice rang clear, I am not guilty of disobedience. My actions were manipulated by rivals. And this human, she gestured to me, acted without coercion, without reward, with compassion. That alone proves intent does not equate to guilt. There was a pause, the chamber silent. Then murmurs spread. My presence, her words, and her composure challenged centuries of precedent. I realized then that courage was contagious. Humans and Xylarians alike shifted in their seats, reassessing their judgments. Lengthy ending, redemption and alliance. After hours of deliberation, the tribunal reached an unprecedented verdict. Lyra was cleared of all charges. The rivals responsible for her punishment were reprimanded, their schemes exposed. My interference was acknowledged, not as a violation, but as a testament to the universality of moral action. Lyra approached me afterward. Her eyes shimmered with gratitude, respect, and something deeper. You saved me, and in doing so you changed everything, she said. I didn't know I could, I replied. You did, she said simply. Courage is not measured by birthright, by species, or by strength. It is measured by choice. And your choice, human, proved invaluable. In the days that followed, Lyra and I worked together to rebuild trust between her faction and the wider Xylarian society. Humans were invited as observers and allies, not intruders. The bond we forged became symbolic, a bridge between civilizations. We traveled through the stars together, not as master and subject, but as partners. Lyra taught me to understand energy fields, politics, and the subtleties of her culture. I taught her about human ingenuity, intuition, and compassion. One quiet evening aboard a starship, I asked her what she feared most. Being powerless, she said. You're not powerless anymore, I replied. No, she said softly. Because you risked everything for me. I realized then that what we had forged went beyond friendship, beyond loyalty. It was a testament to the strength of trust, empathy, and courage across the universe. One human had saved an alien girl and in doing so reshaped the fate of a civilization. As the stars streaked past our viewport, I understood something profound. The universe is vast, but courage, simple, selfless courage, can make it feel smaller, safer, and profoundly connected. And no matter the dangers ahead, I would stand by her, as she had learned to trust me, and as I had learned to believe in something far greater than myself. The end.